Welcome to episode 54 of the We Were Athletes Once podcast. My name is Kyle. I am joined by Koty.
What's up, everybody?
And we missed last week. I'll point that out. Sorry. Big mistake by us, specifically by me. I know. To anyone that doesn't live in middle America right now that doesn't know what's happening, we had about a foot of snow, and that really affected my abilities to record on Saturday. So that was on me. But we are back. NFC Championship, AFC Championship just got done, and two really close games. I don't know if I can necessarily say two really good games. We'll get into those.
One really good game.
Yeah, one really good game and one
terrible
close game. I don't know, Koty, give us your thoughts on what you thought about the two games that were played this week.
One game was excellent, and it finished the trilogy of the year, and it gave us everything we expected, down to the wire. It was a super entertaining game, and the other game was boring as crap. There was just about no offense, and we kind of expected that from one team, but the other team has probably the MVP runner-up, and they were terrible. Now, there was snow, but it didn't really hit until the second half, and the first half was ugly.
Yeah, and that's like something that I didn't remember about the game until the post-game show that I was watching, because I was like, oh, well, like towards the end of the game, knew the final score was going to be 10-7. I was like, oh, well, it makes sense. I mean, the weather was kind of bad, but it just started snowing a ton about halfway through the third quarter, and it didn't really start taking effect until, like, it didn't start sticking, and I don't really think it made an effect on the game until towards the end of the third quarter. So that's still,
I mean, I would say halftime.
40 minutes of football.
We definitely went from nothing on the ground to it sticking on the ground by the time halftime was there, and we kind of rolled out of there. It wasn't great.
Yeah, and since we're already in this game, we can go ahead and start with this one. AFC Championship game, Patriots versus Broncos. This is a game that we've seen a lot over the past 10, 15 years in the AFC Championship game. I want to say it's got to be like the fifth time, but normally we see it with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. This time we saw it with Drake May and Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, it was not pretty.
Should be Bo Nix, but the Patriots end up winning this game 10-7. I think we kind of expected the Patriots to come away with this game once Bo Nix got hurt, which we did update our predictions, but we didn't
record to say them.
Yeah, but I believe Koty had the Patriots and Seahawks going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
going into this, I had the Patriots. I stuck with the Rams. So
yeah, I mean, from the beginning, I had picked the Rams to go all the way, but then after last week's game, I just watched Seattle and I went, man, Mike McDonald and Clint Kubiak let him open it up a little more and actually throw the ball, and he looked good doing it. And that run game looked super effective. And I was like, the only thing that keeps Seattle from winning this game is their offense not producing, and they look too good right now. And I felt like the defense could do enough. So that's ultimately where I went with my pick, but it could have gone either way. It was such a good game.
Yeah, and obviously we'll get into that game too. But yeah, we both ended up predicting that this game was going to be probably a Patriots win once we heard that Bo Nix was out for the rest of the season, out for the rest of the playoffs. But I think we expected more than 10 points. Drake May had a really bad game, 10 of 21 for 86 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, sacked 5 times. and he ran the ball. I mean, he ran the ball pretty well. He himself ran the ball 10 times for 65 yards, scored a touchdown, and had that run at the end of the game that sealed it when apparently he was supposed to hand the ball off, and then he just called his own number and just kept it and beat the edge rusher around that corner. But yeah, Drake May, 10 of 21 for 86 yards, no touchdowns. Jared Stidham, not much better, 17 of 31, 133 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. That pick was at the end of the game when he kind of just threw the ball up, hoping to get something going, and he found Christian Gonzalez. But yeah, this was just an extremely low-scoring game. I believe it was 7-7 at halftime, which I think I heard was the lowest scoring AFC Championship game or NFC Championship game at halftime in NFL history. Yeah, Koty, what were your thoughts on this game?
Well, first, the fact that you said Jared Stidham wasn't much better tells me everything I need to know about how Drake May played, because Jared Stidham was the better quarterback in this game. He had a 52-yard bomb at the beginning to Marvin Mims, and that set him up for that first touchdown. Like, he looked like he was ready to play, and the only reason I think he didn't get more done was because Denver's defense really dialed up the pressure on him. They made it difficult, and my other big issue is neither team ran the ball amazingly. I mean, Ramondre Steven had 70 yards, but it was on 25 carries. Drake May was your most efficient runner. And on the other side, RJ Harvey, 13 carries for 37 yards. That's just not going to cut it in a snow game, or at least half of a snow game. Um, so, and the other thing was, what's his name? Miners? Is that the right guard's name?
Quinn Miners, yeah.
Quinn Miners. He got beat ridiculous amount of times, super easy. And that's a Pro Bowl guard. Like, it just wasn't good enough up front to give Stidham and that run game any time. Not that RJ Harvey was amazing or anything, but it's hard to get anything going when your O line is just getting beat like that. So this is one where I think both defenses played great. I think the O line for Denver really let the team down, and that running game needed to be better. You can't rely on Stidham to be the guy to win the game. You need that offense to do something else, and that should have come from the ground game. Also,
yeah, I don't think
missed field goals galore.
Yeah, I don't think either offensive line played particularly well. Drake May got sacked 5 times. Jared Stidham got sacked 3. I know Will Campbell.
There's a lot of pressure though. Beat bad.
Yeah.
Will Campbell got beat bad.
Will Campbell got beat a lot, and it looked horrible every single time.
That's going to be ugly in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is a game with two teams that I had a lot more faith in than most people, I think, did. As if you've been listening to our football episodes for any amount of time, you guys know that I am a Bo Nix believer. Koty is not. But I thought with Bo Nix, this is a team that could compete with the Rams or the Seahawks, and could probably beat the Patriots pretty easily. I was saying whoever in my predictions that Broncos-Bills game, in my mind, was the AFC Championship game. Again, that was when Bo Nix was healthy.
I mean, if the Bills would have won that game, there's no way Josh Allen doesn't beat that New England team the way they played.
Yeah, and he would have ran another thing that. That's another thing. I love Josh Allen. Josh Allen right now is probably one of my favorite players in the NFL. And he's getting a lot of crap right now for the downfalls of his team.
Get the man a wide receiver.
And he isn't the only one, because Sean McDermott, we haven't talked about it on this podcast yet. Sean McDermott got fired.
Ridiculous.
And
Did you see
regardless
they
of what
started
people,
a petition for him?
yeah, I
Over
did, and
40,000 signatures in 24 hours.
they should, because there's no better options. Which
No.
again, we'll get into the whole coaching stuff later, but yeah, it's wild to think how close Josh Allen continuously gets, but something always happens to where he can't get over the hump. Right now, a lot of people, or at least over the past week, a lot of people have been talking about that, no catch turned to interception in the Bills and Broncos game. I personally think that was the
It's a
right call.
catch.
I
It's a
disagree.
catch.
I think he
I've
didn't
seen
survive
too
the
many
ground.
angles of him having control of the ball, knees going down, and as he rolls, it gets ripped out. He had the ball, he went to the ground, both knees hit, his shoulder hit, and then it gets pulled out. No, he's down 100%. You cannot change my mind on that.
And that's fine. I'm not trying to. Let us know what you guys think about that play, because like I said, we didn't really get a chance to talk about it with not recording an episode last week. But yeah, it's just wild to think that if that play went differently, we would be seeing Josh Allen in the Super Bowl, most likely right now.
I agree.
And every single year prior to that, it's one play away. If
it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, if was it Keon Coleman missing a catch last year that kept them out of the Super Bowl, or someone missed a catch last year? I think.
Also, no longer part of the team.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit more deserving. But
yeah.
was that what happened last year in the AFC Championship game? I think
something
Keon
like
Coleman
that.
or someone missed a catch. How can we forget the 13 seconds that Patrick Mahomes had in, I believe, 2021
when things
that
are grand,
kept them out of the Super Bowl? I don't know. It really sucks for Josh Allen. But
it does.
And
I feel bad for him.
And again, I would have been more okay with it if we got to see Bo Nix in this game. But they beat the Bills just to not play Bo Nix for the rest of the season. So it almost kind of feels like the NFL season is over. But we do still have one more game to play.
But I don't think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we were both very disappointed with the results with what we got from the AFC Championship.
I was going to say, I don't care about the result. Like, I think the better team won. I'm just disappointed that it was so ugly, which doesn't give me a lot of hope for the Super Bowl for them.
And, we're going to keep hearing about the whole discussion about how Drake May never played anyone and got the easiest path to the Super Bowl ever.
He did not. That's fair.
Again, I'm not.
But he beat who he
necessarily.
Had to.
I'm not necessarily subscribing to that, because I think a lot of the teams that he was playing that were bad had higher ranked defenses than they did higher ranked offenses. So I don't think the playoff path was necessarily the hardest, but I don't subscribe to the fact that Drake May didn't deserve what he got getting to the Super Bowl like this, because he never played anyone during the regular season.
You can only play who's on your schedule, and he did what he had to do. So yes, I agree. He played a much easier schedule, and I don't think he played amazing teams. But you can't fault a guy for doing what's on his schedule. It's not like he gets to choose that. This isn't college football.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, we're going to see Drake May playing in the Super Bowl. This is the Patriots' 12th trip to the Super Bowl. Have a chance to win their 7th. And this is the second time in Patriots franchise history that they are watching their team play in a Super Bowl where Tom Brady is not the quarterback. The other 10 times, there was one Drew Bledsoe season that he got stomped out by Brett Favre. And then every other one was Tom Brady. So good on Drake May. Again, this is his 3rd year in the NFL. I think he got a lot of crap for not being great immediately when he stepped foot in the NFL, even though he was still very good. And now, again, I believe year 3, he's leading his team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and this will be 11 of the last 15 Super Bowls that have in the AFC have featured either the Chiefs or the Patriots. So, for all of you preying on Casey's downfall because you're sick of seeing it, welcome back, New England. Like, you can't make this up at this point. Like, I'm a Chiefs fan, so I'm good with the Chiefs going, but I hated watching the Patriots go year after year. And what do we get when the Chiefs fail? We get the freaking Patriots again.
Yeah. Really, the
So
only good option was the Bills, because even the
I wanted
Broncos,
the
this would
Bills.
be
I don't
their
want the Broncos.
even the Broncos, this would be their 3rd Super Bowl in the last 10 years or something along those lines.
To all my Bronco friends out there, I don't care. I hope you all lose.
But yeah, good on Drake May and the Patriots. But we have another game that happened that we have to talk about.
The good one.
Definitely the more exciting game. And it was the Seahawks and the Rams. Now, the Seahawks and the Rams, yeah, it's part 3. The Seahawks and the Rams played 2 really close games the first 2 times. And the reason why I always had the Rams over the Seahawks once the playoffs came was that the Seahawks are a team that's capable of beating anyone, including themselves. I think fair. If Sam Darnold avoids turning the ball over and is capable of moving the ball somewhat efficiently, this Seahawks team can beat anyone they play against. If they can figure out their running game, which they had to give the ball a ton to Kenneth Walker in this game.
And it's crazy how that actually worked.
Yeah.
I've been calling for this for all freaking year and last year.
Yeah, but if those things can happen, I think the Seahawks could beat anyone. That is why I've always said throughout probably since week 5 or week 6 that the Seahawks team is probably the best team in the NFL. And they showed it. Not only did Sam Darnold not turn the ball over, and not only did he move the ball somewhat efficiently, 25-36, 346 yards, and 3 touchdowns throughout this game. Like I said, no picks. Kenneth Walker actually didn't have as good of a game as I thought he did. Averaged 3.3 a carry, but 19 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown. He did what he needed to do.
Can you refresh them, since we didn't talk about last week, what Kenneth Walker did when Zach Charbonnet got hurt?
I don't have that in front of me.
Would you like me to go back and tell you?
Please do, yes.
Okay. For those of you that missed it, Zach Charbonnet got a season-ending injury. I think he tore his ACL or Achilles, one of the two. Wasn't good. It was very early in the game. And because of that, they had to give the ball to Kenneth Walker, who should be their number 1 running back. And he went 19 for 116 and 3 tutties. Give the man the ball.
Yeah, and even the game before that, like if you, I have his last 5 games in front of me now. It's 19 for 62 and a touchdown this week. Divisional round, 19 for 116 and 3 touchdowns. The week before, or last week of the regular season, 16 for 97. Had a slow game against the Panthers in week 17. And then week 16 was that Rams game. They won 38-37 overtime, 11 for 100 yards and a touchdown right there. So Kenneth Walker is a very good running back. I think he has been very misutilized. And I think the fact that the Seahawks' entire running back room basically being out kind of helped them. By the way, their backup running back, we talked about this. Koty never heard of him in his life, but George Holani.
3 carries, 4 yards.
Yeah. I think they're running with George Holani and Cam Akers right now.
He also had 3 receptions for 27 yards. But all I know is I hope next year, once Clint Kubiak takes a head coaching job of whichever one he wants, their new OC sees what just happened here and feeds Kenneth Walker all year.
I mean, again, we'll talk about this when the we talk about the coaching carousel, but does Clint Kubiak want one of these jobs that's open left? He might go back to the Seahawks next year.
I think somebody wants that Buffalo job. I think it's a hot mess in that front office, and I think that I'll wait.
I
I'll wait.
forget.
I'll wait.
Yeah, I forget the Bills are a thing right now, but
Yeah, I'll wait because I have a whole
yeah,
spiel.
yeah. Sam Darnold, great game. Uh, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 10 for
Stud.
153 and a touchdown. Rashid Shaheed only had one reception in this game, but it was for 51 yards.
There's a
Everyone
bomb
else,
right off the bat.
everyone else did their job. Sam did a really good job at moving the ball around.
Jake Bobo with a tutty.
Their, yeah, their defense kind of got picked apart, but again, they did what they needed to do. They had that crucial stop in the fourth quarter with the game on the line.
I mean, it got picked apart, but this might be the most electric offense in football. They can beat you so many different ways.
The one thing I would be remiss to talk about, if I didn't talk about, was the unsportsmanlike conduct call against Reek Woolen.
Oh,
I thought that was going to send the Rams to the Super Bowl right there,
it almost
because
did.
the Seahawks got to stop. I believe Darnold or Stafford threw the ball towards Reek Woolen. I believe whoever he was covering, which I think was Devontae Adams at the time, that was who the intended receiver was. Reek broke that ball up, and then on 4th and 12 started jawing at the Rams sideline. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. On the very next play, he gets burned and leads to a one-score game, where the game probably is close to being over right there if he just keeps his mouth shut. Now, granted, he had I don't know if you saw what he posted on, I think it was Twitter.
Oh no,
after that,
I did
but
not.
he had a nice little Twitter run that I think brought himself into good graces of some people again. But yeah,
did he apologize?
Stop making. Yeah, he apologized and he said no more unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and he had a nice little meme in there that
did
I
you
found
see
funny.
Nick Emanwari, rookie, just giving it to him on the sideline after they scored the touchdown?
Yeah, and
as he should.
He was yelling back at him, and I think
but
it would have been a good idea
right.
it would have been a good idea for one of those coaches to take Reek out of that situation and be like, "Hey, look, big dog."
They did right after. He was standing next to one of the coaches immediately after that interaction.
He'd be like, "This ain't a good look for you. You should probably just take that one on the chin and go sit down."
Hey, if they would have lost this game, which would have been worse, this one or Zay Flowers to cost Baltimore?
I still think Mark Andrews is worse, but
well, Zay Flowers had the unsportsmanlike that screwed them.
Hold on. I'm trying to
against the Chiefs. That led directly to them losing.
I believe this is a real post. Hold on. I'm trying to remember how to share screen.
Yes, it's not that hard.
That right there.
the little guy from what's it called?
Penguins in Madagascar.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I like it.
Yeah, so I think that kind of brought him in the good graces of some people again. But yeah, the Seahawks defense is great, but they're also very young, and that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing. And I think that showed some of the bad part of it right there. That Reek Woolen's 25 years old, 24 years old. He's going to be making a lot of stupid mistakes, and a lot of these guys probably are. But this is also the most talented defense in the NFL right now, and it's hard to bet against them in any game.
I mean, gosh, that's secondary is so young and so good. You've got Reek, you've got Spoon, you've got Eman Worry. That is so young and so good.
Yeah. But Eamon Warrior's
Um,
like 22 right now.
he got drafted last year. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
freak of nature athlete. Um, I do want to give Rams props though, because even though Seattle held this down, um, they played a great game. Their defense not so great, but Matthew Stafford, your MVP, threw for 374 and 3 touchdowns. Only got sacked once.
He had a
Puka,
couple nice runs in the
yeah,
game
he
that led to
did.
some first downs.
He had 13 rushing or 16 rushing yards.
And
One was for 13.
Was it Tom Brady that was the quarterback in the booth for
Yes.
this game? I think he was about to have a heart attack every time Stafford tried to
Yes,
run.
he was. Um, and as good as JSN was, Puka was better. He had more yards
Yeah.
on less receptions. He was an animal like he always is. Devontae Adams 4 for 89 and a 1 yard touchdown per usual. Don't know why I didn't bet on him getting a touchdown, but you know, uh, Harrison Mevis 2 for 2, one from 50. Thicker kicker in the house. My biggest issue with this game for them was they were in this game and it was close the whole time. They only ran the ball 19 times with the running backs. Kyron Williams only had 10 carries. Blake Corum only had 9. Blake Corum had averaged 6.1 per carry. You could have eaten some of that clock and kept the ball out of their hands if you were putting it in your running back hands more. I know that offense is electric. I know you want Puka to get the ball as much as possible, but sometimes you need to slow the game down. You need to keep it out of their hands so they can't score. And I thought you could have ran the ball at least 10 more times.
Yeah. Um yeah, two things I want to talk about. The first one is like some real stuff. Devontae Adams, this is his fifth NFC Championship game, and he's lost all 5 of them.
Oh.
The other 4 were all with the Packers. They were never able to get it done. This is his first one outside since he left the Packers, and it's the same result. So
No fault of his own, though.
yeah, everyone watching probably knows by now I'm a Packers fan. Always gonna love Devontae Adams, and it hurts to see that, but he's still got some year. He's still got some years left in him. He's still a really good receiver. Whether it's with the Rams next year or it's with someone else, Steelers. I think he's gonna get back there.
Rodgers
and
is
hopefully
retiring. Calm it down.
Again, we'll talk about it when we get to the coaching part of it. But
Oh gosh,
I
you brought in
I have a dream.
Denny's menu holding coach of all time.
And then I want to give us
every team that won in the playoffs has more playoff wins than him.
We'll see. We'll talk about it. But one more thing I want to talk about, and I want to give us like a minute and a half, 2 minutes of talking about some not real stuff. Sam Darnold technically was questionable going into each of the last 2 games.
He threw on Friday this week.
What if there is a world where he can't go in the Super Bowl?
Oh, baby.
Drew Lock.
I'm still picking Seattle to win it all.
I am too. I think if there's anything that will get Drew Lock another shot as a starter in the NFL, it would be being the starting quarterback for a Super Bowl team. It's not going to happen.
Pulling Nick Foles.
It's not going to happen. They're going to.
The only way it happens is if Darnold gets hurt in the middle of this game.
Yeah, and I believe it's an oblique injury, so I was going to say they're going to cut off his arm or do something for that, but it's not even something you can do that. Yeah.
What are we doing?
Like they'll do surgery midweek and he will go in the Super Bowl if they have
to. Don't do that. He's not having surgery midweek and playing. I'm just going to let you know right now that's not happening.
Yeah, but I can't be like, they'll cut off the arm before
nothing's getting cut off.
But Yeah. I think based off how
Oh,
we've been talking about this,
hold on.
I think
The last real thing we need to talk about here: the 2018 NFL Draft Class quarterbacks. Number 1, Baker Mayfield. Number 3, Sam Darnold. Number 10, Josh Rosen. Number 32, Lamar Jackson. And Sam Darnold is the first to make a Super Bowl. After we wrote him off at the Jets, Sam Darnold is the first quarterback that includes Baker, Lamar,
you skip Josh Allen. Josh
and
Allen's a
Josh
part of
Allen.
that
Sorry,
draft
Josh
class.
Allen at 7. My bad. And Josh Allen at 7. So before Baker, Lamar, and Allen is Sam Darnold. We don't count Josh Rosen. He sucked. We all knew that was coming. He got picked by Arizona. You knew he was going to be bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Insane.
impressive. And again, good for him. This is
He deserves it.
what
He
you
played
want. This is
great.
what you
He
want
has
to see. A lot of what makes young quarterbacks successful isn't necessarily how good they are, it's the team that they get drafted by.
100%.
And so it's so hard a lot of the time for these high draft pick guys to actually be good. And I think that's why we appreciate guys like Matthew Stafford and guys like right now we're seeing Caleb Williams, what he does. These guys that are, and granted, the Bears were a little bit better than normal when Caleb Williams got drafted first overall because they had traded that pick. But whenever you see guys that are drafted first overall and they're actually like these great quarterbacks, basically right from jump, it's special. And Sam Darnold didn't really get that shot. He was with the Jets for what 6 years, I think, 5 years.
Too many.
Um, and people were starting to give him that bust label, but every other stop after that, he was. I mean,
Did
not
he
Carolina
win?
either. Carolina
No.
was bad, but
Did he win Comeback Player of the Year last year?
I think he did.
Because if
I
he
think he would
didn't,
have had to.
he should win it now.
I don't think he's eligible this year
He should be.
because he had a really good year last year too.
Every
But
time we talk about him, he should win Comeback Player of the Year because literally no one, when he was done with the Jets, thought he could do anything, even be a backup. No one thought he was capable. And
yeah,
he said,
but
screw the Jets. That's not who I am. And
yeah,
he
but
looked really good this week.
the two teams that he was bad with were the Jets and the Panthers, which it's hard to look good on either of those teams. But then went to the 49ers and he never really played, but he
But he got
got a
coached by
lot of
Kyle Shanahan,
yeah, he had a lot of glowing reviews from Kyle Shanahan for
who is the
how he
quarterback
how he
whisperer.
handled yeah, and that was based off how he handled the whole situation, how he came in and practiced every week knowing he wasn't going to play. Uh and kind of in a sense he really helped Brock Purdy from how it sounded. Then he went to Minnesota, another really good organization, when it comes to quarterbacks, and a really good quarterback, another head coach who used to be a quarterback and who's really good at coaching up quarterbacks, had a great year, and then came over to Seattle, who is has been one of the top organizations in the NFL for a while. Don't really see a lot of 10 plus loss seasons lately for Seattle. So, uh, yeah, where these guys get drafted matters a lot more than how good they are necessarily. And that's why I'm scared for Fernando Mendoza.
Gosh,
I
he's going to
personally
get
don't think,
blasted.
yeah, I don't think super highly of him as a quarterback in terms of like, I don't think he should be a first overall pick in any
No,
situation except for the situation that he's in.
no.
And I think it's not going to turn out well for the Raiders. But
They better
I hope he proves me
draft
wrong.
and sign every good offensive lineman they can
But I
because
hope he proves me
he's going
wrong
to get
because
annihilated.
he
I do too. I
him
like the kid. He's super nice. His family seems awesome. Um, now, he's a little more emotional than I want my quarterback, but that's just me. Um, but he seems like a good dude, and he is not a number 1 pick quarterback. I've got issues with how quickly he processes and how he locks on to one receiver. But he's got some skills. I don't think the Raiders are ever going to unlock it because when have they?
Yeah. So based off how we've talked so far throughout this episode, I don't think it
Seattle.
should be a surprise to anyone that we both are picking Seattle to win the Super Bowl this year. Um, life comes at you fast. I had them, I think, fourth in the NFC North going into this year.
I picked them to win it or take second.
I think you picked them to take second because you had the Rams and then the Seahawks and then the 49ers and then the other team,
Cardinals.
which is how it went. Yeah. We don't talk about them.
Yeah, they're trash.
Yeah, that was how
You
it
do
went.
talk about them because you just got their head coach. So,
Yeah.
and
But
for the Super Bowl preview, we're not going to give you a huge preview here. The storyline is going to be: can New England bounce back? Can Drake May look like the potential MVP that he could be? And what is Seattle's defense going to do to him? Because if Will Campbell blocks like he blocked against Denver, you may have an injured quarterback because it was ugly. And this Seattle defense, I think, is better than that Denver defense. Um, so, and that's saying a lot because Denver's defense is dang good. So it'll be something. I have Seattle by winning by more than a touchdown. So
yeah, and I will say, I think the Patriots have a very capable team. I think they
they
have a
do.
really good run game. They have an offensive line that has played very well throughout most of the year. And Drake May is probably the runner up in the MVP. Uh, this is a very good team. I don't think they have a receiver that is capable of getting open
No.
against this Seahawks secondary. But
Um,
I think it's going to be, will the Seahawks beat the Patriots or will the Seahawks beat themselves? I do think
yeah,
there's a chance that the Patriots can win this game, but I see it being somewhat, maybe not as bad as last year's Super Bowl, but
I think it could
uh,
be.
it could be.
Did you see how many times Travion Henderson touched the ball last week?
He ran the ball 3 times. Did he?
Three rushes,
Yeah,
unacceptable.
he had no receptions.
I don't know, just three rushes. That's all I cared.
Yeah,
Unacceptable. I mean, when
yeah,
Drake
three
May throws
three
for
carries for 5 yards.
80 yards, 86 yards, whatever it was, like you have to have running backs running the ball, and you handed the ball off to Ramondre Stevenson 25 times and gave it to Travion Henderson 3 times. Again, I don't know what he did to Vrabel, but why draft him if you're not going to use him?
Yeah. So the last thing I think we have to get into is some head coaching stuff. So there is, and I think we're mostly going to be talking about the head coaches as much as I want to talk about Jonathan Gannon. Uh, we'll mostly be talking about the head coaching situations. Uh, I think it'll probably lead into a couple other things, but uh, yeah, mostly head coaching situations. So I believe there were 9 jobs that were open going in this year, which is a lot, or going into this offseason, I should say. And I think probably 5 of them at this point, if I had to, guess, have been filled.
If you
I think we
had to
talked about.
guess.
I don't have the number in front of me. Sorry, I. Maybe I can find something else, but I think we talked about one a little bit, but I don't think we talked about it too much because I think the uh, last time we talked about it, there was some weirdness around it. But we'll start with the Giants. The Giants hired John Harbaugh. I think this is the best possible hire, or the best possible matchup or pairing that there could be in this coaching cycle. I think in terms of Harbaugh's side of things, they have a legit quarterback, they have a legit running back, they have a legit number one receiver, and they have other pieces around that start to make things a little bit intriguing. Now, this is a very bad team. I believe they're picking second in the draft this year. But I think the Giants could be a team that could be on the rise very quickly. Didn't even talk about their pass rush. They have a really good pass rush still.
It did not play well this year, though.
It didn't, but I think as Abdul Carter has more experience in the NFL, I think he will be really good. They still have Brian Burns. He is a really good edge rusher. A lot of guys that I'm missing, but yeah. What are your real quick thoughts on this? Because this has been
I
the
love
thing
it.
for a while now.
I love it, and I think John Harbaugh is going to have a heyday with those crane eaters over there. Like, if you could pick one player that he will love, it is a guy that's willing to run his head through a wall and doesn't care how many times you give him the ball, and he's going to go woo at the end of all of it. That's a John Harbaugh guy because he wants to run the ball and he wants a psychopath doing it, and he's going to have one. So I think you're getting your running back, you're getting your number one receiver back, and you have a defense that is really good, a lot of really good pieces, but is underperformed. And John Harbaugh is a defense guy that can turn that around. So I love this signing.
I found it. There have been 6 out of 10
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
jobs that
10,
have been filled.
by the way.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. I forget the Bills
Yeah.
because the Bills are a recent thing, but yeah, I also think like as much as we love the whole crayon eater side of it, I think John Harbaugh can make them like actual professionals.
Yes.
Which
he won't stand for them being completely ridiculous. He'll let them be themselves, but he'll make sure it's okay.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for it because I think they'll find a nice happy medium of them all being psychopaths and them all like learning how to be NFL players. I think that's very important. I think knowing how to handle yourself in the NFL is very important. And we're talking about guys that are 22, 23, 24 years old.
They
A
need
guy
to
who's
learn
been
how to be
coaching.
adults.
Yeah, a guy who's been coaching in the NFL for 20 years, who's won a Super Bowl, with guys like Ray Rice and Ray Lewis in that locker room who are psychopaths themselves.
Yeah,
That's all I'll say
you
about
beat
that.
a person and you murdered a person. Like, what are we
Okay.
talking about? I'll say
That
it.
Koty will say a little more.
You beat a woman and dragged her out of an elevator, and the other dude killed somebody. But here we are.
Allegedly.
There's no allegedly with me.
Allegedly.
No allegedly.
I have to say allegedly for
Allegedly.
in case we get big one day for legal purposes.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. It makes me think of any of my Letterkenny fans out there. Allegedly.
Yeah, but I think this is a really good hire for the Giants. Another one that is a very good hire that, again, I think we talked a little bit about, but not all that much. The Falcons hiring Kevin Stefanski. Now,
I like it a lot.
Again, I think this is probably the second best coaching situation out there. Well, maybe not the second, but a very because again, the Ravens and the Bills, I can't get over how they were coaching vacancies at one point. But yeah, outside of the Ravens and the Bills, probably the second best. Because again, they have their franchise quarterback, a great running back, and a great receiving core as a whole. Are you pulling up the Letterkenny thing? Oh no, you're pulling up the same thing that I'm looking at.
I'm giving you the openings and hires so you can see it.
Yeah, like I said, that's the exact graphic that I was looking at. But yeah, Kevin Stefanski, I love the hire. I think there's not a lot of people that can make the Cleveland Browns look like a competent organization. And he did that for probably 3 of the 6 seasons he was there. So
I'm still not convinced he wasn't trying to get fired.
I mean, he made a Pro Bowl quarterback last year.
He didn't. Don't even start with me. Don't
He
even
had
start with me.
Kevin
Shut
Stefanski
your
had a
mouth.
Pro Bowl
Shut your
quarterback.
mouth. No, he didn't.
He had a Pro
Just
Bowl
because
quarterback with the
a
Browns last year.
replacement of a replacement of a replacement is in the. Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler. Shut up.
Tyler Huntley was good. He was
No, he wasn't. He couldn't throw the ball more than 5 yards. Shut up.
We're talking about the fact that Shador was named the replacement for, I believe, Bo Nix. Or Drake May. It might have been for Drake.
It doesn't matter. Make the Pro Bowl after the Super Bowl so the players actually show up to it.
They still won't. I think 20. There had to have been, if they asked Shador, there had to have been 20 quarterbacks that said no. 100%. In the AFC alone.
20 in the AFC alone? How many backups did they ask first?
A lot.
Did Flacco get asked?
He had to have. If Shador
should have been. He took two terrible teams and
Phillip Rivers probably got asked.
Listen, if Phillip Rivers got asked and he went, that would be amazing.
Koty, what are your thoughts on Kevin Stefanski and the Atlanta?
You know I like Kevin Stefanski. What he did with the Browns was nothing less than a miracle. He took that garbage dumpster of a franchise and made them decent. He took a quarterback off of the couch in retirement and took them to the playoffs. I don't even know how that happened, but he did it somehow. And also with a number one receiver being Jerry Jeudy and a running back of a knee that is gone basically in Nick Chubb. Like, I don't know how that offense...
a knee that has been gone as well.
Yeah. So I don't know how he got that team to the playoffs, but he did. He is a 2-time coach of the year, and he's an excellent coach.
You were talking about Nick Chubb that first
Yes,
time.
I was.
I thought you were talking about Quinshon Judkins, whose knee is also gone.
No. Nick Chubb. So 2-time coach
It happens
of the
to
year.
all of his running backs, though. We might have to be worried about Bijan.
Bijan, he'll do it to Algier, not Bijan. But you're giving him maybe the best running back in football right now. The big question is going to be what's happening at quarterback. Will he use Drake London? Will they bring back the unicorn in Mr. Pitts and use him? But there's a lot of good pieces on that team if they can figure out what happens at the quarterback position. So I like it. I think Stefanski is an excellent coach. And depending on what you need, he might have been a better fit than Harbaugh.
And let's not forget, the Falcons finished a game out from being a playoff team this year. Yeah, all three of the top teams in the NFC South went 8-9. The Falcons could be a playoff team next year with how weak this NFC South is. So that is
fun fact. I believe the runners-up the last time the Falcons hired a coach when they picked Raheem Morris, the two coaches that they decided Morris over would be 1 Mike Vrabel and 2 Mike McDonald, who are now both coaching in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you live and learn.
Hopefully. I mean, they fired everyone in that front office, so I love them bringing in Matty Ice to being the president, and I'm excited what's going to happen in Atlanta.
I still think Raheem Morris is a good DC.
I do too.
I kind of
You would have loved him.
I would have loved him if the Packers would have hired him. Jonathan Gannon, I think it's going to be fun, but I probably would have liked Raheem Morris, or it's going to be fun watching Micah Parsons get 30 sacks next year. But
he's going to unleash him.
I would have preferred either Al Harris or Raheem Morris, but Flores. That was never going to happen. Speaking of the Packers DC, we're talking about the Packers needing a new DC because their old DC is now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, as well as half of their coaching staff. But Jeff Hafley, hired by the Miami Dolphins, before you get into the we get into the Packers fan side of things. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Um, my first reaction was the Packers defense sucks. Why are they hiring the Packers DC as their head coach? Um, so I asked the Packer fan, and you said it's the personnel, not the coach. So I'm gonna trust you. Um, I think this job is a terrible job. I would not touch this. There's one positive about this team in Miami. What do you think that positive is?
Um, is it Devon Achan?
It's that
I
they're
don't know.
located in Miami. That team
Okay,
blows. Nothing about that team do I like. So I would
I
not have
thought you were talking
touched
about
it.
on field, some one thing
Nope.
on field.
Nope. I don't like anything on the field. You have 50 something $1 million tied up in a quarterback that doesn't know what his name is. You have an offensive line that's terrible. Your defense is atrocious. And your one kind of bright spot is Devon Achan. That's it. Your team's terrible. So I knew very little about Jeff Halfley. So I'm going to let the person who knows best about Jeff Halfley give your opinion on him.
Yeah, well, for starters, I think next year the Miami Dolphins are going to be Packers South. Um, their assistant GM, John Eric Sullivan, is now the Dolphins GM. Their DC from last year, Jeff Halfley, is now the Dolphins head coach. Their Packers backup quarterback last year, Malik Willis, is most likely going to be the
I
Dolphins
was going to
starting
say, is
quarterback this
Willis
year.
going there?
And he's brought multiple coaches over already from the Packers over to the Dolphins. I think there's going to be a lot of parallels between what you saw in Green Bay this year and what, and in terms of coaching decisions. I believe the Packers quarterback coach got hired as the OC as well, or is in the process, is working on a contract with them or talking with them about being the new OC. I think a lot of maybe not necessarily the players, like obviously not the players, but in terms of how play calling is in Green Bay and in terms of what you see in terms of personnel in the field, I think it's going to be very similar in Miami next year to what you've seen in Green Bay, because a lot
So,
of these coaches are coming over there. In terms,
so questionable quarterback play and a terrible defense.
so here's the thing with Jeff Halfley as a coach. I don't think Jeff Halfley is by any means a bad DC, and I think it doesn't hurt to give him a shot. I don't think he does anything particularly special to where, again, we're talking about Jonathan Gannon being the Packers' new DC. He is a menace when it comes to having defenses that can rush the passer. Uh, heard a lot about Al Harris. We were talking about this off or before we started recording. I personally would have preferred Al Harris because Al Harris knows how to take the ball away from the other team. He was the DB's coach for the Cowboys for 4 years when they were picking everyone off. Last year, he was the DC for the Chicago Bears, who had the most turnovers in the NFL last year. I personally would have preferred Al Harris. I don't really think you have one specific thing that Jeff Halfley is necessarily good at, but he's a very sound coach. And I think the big reason why the Packers were bad on defense last year, like you said, was the personnel. Keyshawn Nixon was our number one corner, and he was, according to Pro Football Focus, 39th in terms of cornerback rankings. I think that might honestly be a little bit generous. So I question more why Jeff Halfley would want this job than why the Dolphins would want Jeff Halfley. Because Jeff Halfley is a good coach, but I don't think this is a difference maker in any way. I honestly think they might have been better off keeping Mike McDaniels. But Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, I have very similar opinions on the next coach we're going to talk about, and it's why does Robert Saleh want to go to the Tennessee Titans? Because, as I said, he could interview for any of these jobs, and the first question that he should be asked is, what did you learn from your experience coaching the Jets? And the answer should be, don't coach the Jets. And so he goes to the Titans, who has a worse personnel than even that Jets team that he coach had. What are we doing, Robert Saleh? Do you just like pain? Because this is a bad team. There is one thing that is slightly different, and that you may believe that you have your quarterback, and that is the one and only thing on that roster, because it is bad. Looking up and down that roster, O line, D line, secondary, linebackers, receiving core, running backs even aren't great. Cam Ward, if you believe he is the franchise quarterback, that's literally all you're being sold on right now, because that team is awful.
I don't mind the Titans running backs. I think they could probably afford to use Tajay Spears a little bit more.
I wish they would.
Excuse me. But Tony Pollard actually has had a couple pretty good seasons in a row. Uh, Now, I think he's on the wrong end of 30 at this point, so he
Yeah,
might start to decline at some point. But I like Tajay Spears. I think it probably wouldn't hurt to throw out a low ball extension out there and see if he'll take it. But everything else is questionable at best. I believe Peter
very,
Skoranek
very
was the
questionable.
guy that they drafted to be like the next heir apparent to Taylor Lewan at left tackle, and I believe he's been playing guard
He
throughout his
can
whole
play
career.
any position. It's Skoronski, not Skronik. That's a
Yeah,
wide
Ben
receiver.
Skoranek is who I'm thinking
Yeah,
of. Yeah,
Peter Skoronsky.
Peter
He
Skoronski.
was drafted as a small tackle that people thought could be a guard. He also played some center. Like, he can do whatever. He can play anywhere on that line.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the names on this offensive line, it's an offensive line that should be good, but they just haven't been. I mean, they have Lloyd Cushenberry at center, who was part of that historic national championship LSU team. Kevin Zeitler has been a really good offensive lineman for a long time in this league. Uh, I mean, J.C. Latham, he's
Young should be good
yeah,
out of
and
Bama.
so I mean, the oldest person, I think Kevin Zeitler is the only one over 30 on this offensive line. What is that? Did you hear that?
No.
I think
Yeah,
ads are
but
playing,
here's
but
the thing. They haven't played well together. And
they haven't. My point was that they're young. I think they could end up
okay,
meshing together
that O
soon.
line could, but the rest of it's not great. And you brought in a DC to run that. Now, their defense sucks and needs help, and he's been a very, very good DC. Um, he did amazing work with that 49ers defense, who is just injured all the time, everybody.
Mm.
So I think he's an excellent DC. So hopefully he can turn that around. My worry is, though, who is going to develop Cam Ward? Who is going to get that offensive line meshing and working together to protect him? And what are you going to do if, I mean, Tony Pollard, he's been fine, but like you said, he's pushing the age where running backs aren't running backs anymore. Um, I like Tajay Spear. I think they need another one, and he has no one to throw the ball to. Like, you got to do something on this. Like, drafting is going to be hard because you have so many holes to fill. Where's most important? And I hope Robert Sala understands at this point, based on being in San Francisco, that you have to build from the trenches. You got to get that O line and defense and that D line sound.
And I think he always has understood that. I think he he was under a lot of restrictions, I think, with Woody Johnson as the Jets owner.
Woody Johnson.
And I think that probably kept him from doing a lot of things uh, that he wanted to. I in terms of the actual hire itself, I think I probably would have liked them to get an offensive guy, but I understand why they went with a defensive guy because again, you need to figure something out in terms of your defensive identity. And I don't necessarily think as long as you bring in someone that knows how to develop Cam Ward, I don't think having a head coach, not having a head coach that can do it himself, isn't the worst case in the world. Now, what I've been hearing in terms of, or what I've seen online in terms of the people that they're bringing in for interviews, it's people like Cliff Kingsbury and Adam Stevenich. Adam Stenovich. I always have so many issues at, like, that's one of the names I cannot pronounce for some reason, even though it's a very easy name to pronounce. Adam Stenovich, who is the Packers offensive coordinator. Uh, Cliff Kingsbury might be able to do something with Cam Ward.
Yeah, I would love
I don't
if they
think
brought in
Adam.
Kingsbury.
I don't know if Adam Stenovich can.
I think Cliff Kingsbury would be a great option.
So,
And if he can turn that around, he's going to get another head coaching job.
yeah, so we'll see what they do with that offensive coordinator situation, but I think that's going to matter more than.
No, I very
Just
much
about
like
anything.
Robert Saleh as a coach. I think he is a great DC. I'm glad he's getting another opportunity. I just don't know why this was the team he chose.
Yeah. I could see it, but I don't know. We'll see. I honestly think the best spot that Robert Saleh could have gone is the next place we're going to be talking about is the Baltimore Ravens,
Oh
because
no. Uh, okay.
the biggest thing
I understand why.
the biggest thing the Baltimore Ravens need right now is to figure out their defense.
I
And
agree, but they also need to figure out how to get Lamar Jackson to be Lamar Jackson. Because it doesn't matter what their defense does. If he looks like he did this year, they're not winning.
well, I think a lot of that does come from the fact that Lamar was probably playing hurt for a lot of the season. He was out hurt for a couple games this season. I don't think he necessarily fully healed. I also think they've been trying to do the whole making Lamar a pocket passer thing, and I think that's stupid. I think if you,
And maybe Mentor fixes that.
yeah, I think if you keep doing what you've been doing every year prior to 2025 with Lamar, I think Lamar is fine. Lamar is not a guy that you necessarily need to develop in any way. You just need to use him right. Lamar has been in this league for 7 years, 8 years, something like that. He's a two-time MVP. He's been about as close to Super Bowl as you can get without winning or without getting there. Uh, just like
Unless you're
Josh
Josh
Allen,
Allen.
and uh, he's almost 30 years old. He's had a lot of success in this league. I think the biggest thing you need right now, if you're the Ravens, is figuring out how to make your defense mesh how they should, uh, and just bring in an offensive coordinator that has two brain cells to rub together and knows that letting Lamar be 1,000-yard rusher and a 3,000-yard passer is better than him having close to a 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. So I think Jesse Minter can do that as well. I think Robert Saleh might have been better at doing that, but I do really like this hire for the Ravens.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that I read about Minter and how his players felt about him was they loved him. They had high praise for him. Um,
And again, this was Harbaugh's DC at Michigan and with the Chargers.
yeah. Um, like Derwin James was one of the guys that just praised him for his leadership and his football knowledge. and how he game planned and got their defense ready. So I think he'll be fine. What I've seen is that, well, one, he hired the DB coach that coached Kyle Hamilton at Notre Dame. So you're bringing in someone familiar with one of your best defensive players. And the names that they've brought up for OC that are the favorites to land the job are Joe Brady and Cliff Kingsbury. So you've got two good options there that I think
Someone's
could
going to hire
definitely.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, 100%. So I think it was a fine hire. I agree. I think Robert Saleh would have been great there, but um, I think Jesse Minter will do fine, and I think he's bringing in the right people.
Yeah. And then the last head coaching job that
Hate
has
it.
been filled. I don't. Uh, Mike McCarthy on his third head coaching job, obviously was with
The
the
fifth
Packers
Denny's
for.
menu.
McCarthy was with the Packers for about 10 years. I think. I think he was. His first year as a head coach was the year before Aaron Rodgers' first year as a starter, uh, and was there until I think 2017. Won a Super Bowl there. Was even though I still to this day put a lot of credit on the team that was on the field for that Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, you know, all those great wide receivers that they had. The one year they had great wide receivers. The one year they had a great defense. I do give more credit to the players on the field. But one thing that I do really appreciate about Mike McCarthy, both with his time with the Packers and his time with the Cowboys, is that Mike McCarthy is a coach that a lot of players want to play for. He knows how to lead a locker room. And I think most people, if you ask them, based off of what I've heard from players speaking publicly about Mike McCarthy, is that he is a lot of fun to play for. So I think that will do well. Have a nice little change of pace from Mike Tomlin, who I also think was probably a lot of fun to play for a lot of times, seeing a lot of the videos that, came out with, especially recently with him celebrating with his team after they won uh, that game against the Ravens this year. Um, I just think Mike Tomlin got a little stoic at times, and uh, him being there for 15, 20 years got a little stale. I do think Mike McCarthy will be a nice change of pace, especially a guy who grew up in Pittsburgh, who loves this Pittsburgh Steelers organization, even though he's never been a part of it. Finally getting his dream job. And I also think this might kind of be something where they're trying to convince Aaron Rodgers to play for one more year.
That's the only thing that makes sense with this for me. Um, I'm not a fan. I don't like to agree with Ryan Clark very often because I think he speaks a lot of ignorance from time to time. Um,
Agreed on that.
but the way he described it was uninspiring, and I agree. It doesn't like look at look at the Steelers organization. Who is their last two coaches been, and how long were they there?
Was it Mike Tomlin and Bill Cowher wasn't right before that, was
And
it?
Bill Cowher.
Was it
That
right
was
before?
it. Yes.
I thought
You
there
had
had to have been
Bill
someone between
Cowher
him.
and Mike Tomlin back to back for like the last 40 something years. It's been those two. And you go and you get Mike McCarthy. Like everything about this screamed, get me that new up and comer guy that can lead this franchise for 20 years because that's what we want. And it's not Mike McCarthy because he's 62 years old and is pushing Andy Reid for who eats more cheeseburgers. So I don't like it. it's boring to me. I don't think this is going to put him over the top by any means. This to me feels like maybe we're trying to convince Aaron Rodgers to stay, and maybe we're going to put a guy there that he doesn't need a next coaching job. He, if they're bad and they lose the streak, oh well, we can go draft a quarterback because that's what this organization needs more than anything. So they don't want to give it to some young guy to screw it up because maybe he keeps carrying them on the way they are and they never get that quarterback. But for me, of the guys on the market that I would have loved to see, a guy like Nate Scheelhaus out of LA, their OC, like I would have loved to see someone like that. Young, worked under McVay, is an offensive guy, which is what that team I think that team needs a lot. But I think you getting a guy like that um, that can lead a team for the next 15, 20 years and kind of revitalize this franchise is something that was desperately needed because everything that came out after Tomlin stepped down, players said it was like a funeral, that they were mourning the loss of a family member. Like they loved Tomlin, and for him to leave was horrible for them. And I just don't see Tomlin being anything that helps. Or Tomlin, McCarthy being anything that helps.
I believe from what it appears right now, the only coaches in the NFL that are older than Mike McCarthy are Andy Reid and John Harbaugh.
Yep.
So I do think it would have been better to get some young blood here, but I also don't know if you can necessarily go wrong because, again, either the Steelers are going to be able to find some old magic that Mike McCarthy had in Green Bay, or like you said, this is going to be a guy who's there for 1 or 2 years. They're going to be bad, and they're going to be in position to finally draft a quarterback because they've been looking for a quarterback that can replace Big Ben since he retired. They tried Mason Rudolph, that didn't work out. They tried Justin Fields, that didn't work out. Um, I still think Aaron Rodgers played really well last year, but he's 42
Played
years
okay.
old. But he's 42 years old, so he's not going to be the guy to replace him. One thing I have heard is Mike McCarthy likes Will Howard, so maybe they give him a shot if they can't get Aaron to come back. But I don't necessarily hate it.
Malik Willis.
I really think he's going to go. I think he's the best option, but I really think he's going to go to Miami. Maybe they can get Tua and try a reclamation project there. But yeah, their best option is going to be either being bad and drafting a quarterback or not caring that they don't have a quarterback and win anyway.
They're not going to win if they don't have a quarterback.
They've done it for Mike Tom the last 7 years.
This isn't Mike Tomlin.
That's very true, but I don't hate it as much as you do. So there are 4 openings left.
Only one good one.
One good one, and I want to talk about that specific opening because we talked about it earlier. Sean McDermott got fired. Now,
Dumb.
Is there any possible option, realistic option, that could be an upgrade for this Bills team from Sean McDermott?
Is there a
realistic options?
Mike Tomlin? He's not going to coach, so I don't think it's realistic. But if we're talking upgrades, that's the only one.
And the reason why I asked that is because you aren't firing Sean McDermott unless you think there is a way you can upgrade.
I think their ownership is that. Here's the deal. Terry Pagula, who's the owner of the Bills, I know him very well because he's also the owner of the Buffalo Sabres, and that is one of the worst run organizations in the NHL, and it's not even close. And he runs the Bills the same way he runs the Sabres. The only thing that has saved him from himself is that Josh Allen turned into an absolute stud of a quarterback. Otherwise, this team is a crap show. And that's what this front office is. The way they fired him, the timing of it, what they did is complete trash. And the way they're going about a hiring process, I heard, is also ridiculous. So anyone who
Yeah,
doesn't know, they literally walked into the locker room right after they lose and fire Sean McDermott in front of everyone. Like, this is the bullcrap that Terry Pagula is doing.
yeah, and
There's not a better
I
option.
where I was going with that is that, you know, I think Terry Pagula probably thinks there is an upgrade out there because again, I you don't fire your head coach unless you think you can get an upgrade somewhere. I don't think there is one.
No.
Again, if you can somehow convince Mike Tomlin to come and coach for the Buffalo Bills, okay, I'll listen to it, but you can't. There are reports that he is retiring from coaching. I don't believe that whatsoever. I
I
think
think he's retiring for this year.
I think he's going to take a year or two off, and he's going to wait until there's a really
I was going to
good
say,
coaching job out
he's
there.
only comes back if something opens up
If
that
Andy
is
Reid
the
if Andy
perfect.
Reid
Oh, yeah.
retires, that is when he will come
Yeah.
out of
You
retirement.
go to a situation where you have a franchise bona fide star quarterback that has a chance to win. You don't go anywhere else. Like, you're not starting over.
Yeah, and I mean even that I don't think is realistic because I honestly think they'd probably just promote Eric Bieniemy.
I don't.
But I think they've learned their lesson. I think they're going to keep Eric Bieniemy at all costs. But talking about the Bills,
Um, so, some names that have interviewed for you. One, Philip Rivers. First of all, he has done something he's never done before, and he has actually pulled out his name from the coaching hiring process. He said, no, thank you. Um, Again, because of how this hiring process has gone and the things that that front office is doing, he said, I don't even want to be a part of this. Like, this is I just
which the fact that they're
I
the
can't
fact that they're
emphasize
calling
enough.
Philip Rivers is
Yeah,
stupid in and
I
of itself.
cannot emphasize enough how bad this ownership group is. After they did what we just talked about and how they fired one of the best coaches that there's out there right now in Sean McDermott, they also have started trashing on him to save face with their GM and trashing on players, which Keon Coleman, not a great player, but the way they went about this and just blatantly lied about things, saying, oh, McDermott's the one who wanted him. Our GM didn't even like him. When there's video out there of him talking about how teams are going to pass on him because of his 40 time and he's excited because they're actually going to be able to get him, like, you can't lie when there's video multiple times of you saying you're going to take this player. Like, shut up. I okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anthony Lynn interviewed, and the only other one that I'm seeing interviewed is Davis Webb.
They also interviewed Mike McDaniels, and he pulled his name
No,
out.
he said no. I'm going to the Chargers,
Well, he interviewed for them after he took the Chargers job,
and he
but
said
then he
no.
pulled his name out.
Yeah.
I still feel like they're going to end up hiring Brian Dable.
Oh, I forgot Dayball. Yeah,
I don't think he's interviewed at all, but I think
he was there
this is the
before.
guy that, yeah, this is the guy that was the offensive coordinator when Josh Allen figured it out. I think that was what the Giants were wishing on a star for when they hired him in the first place to try and fix
I
Daniel
could see that.
Jones. I think they would love to bring him back, and if they don't, I think they're going to hire Anthony Lynn because I think
I think
at
I kind of like the idea of Davis Webb.
I like the idea of Davis Webb, but you always like the idea of
It's
people
because of his
until
relationship with Josh Allen that I like the idea of Davis Webb.
I think Terry Pagula is probably going to hire someone that he knows, which Anthony Lynn was the former
Was their
defensive coordinator
interim?
for the
He was
Bills.
also their interim.
Yeah, and that was before he took the head coaching job with the Chargers. I think he will most likely, or sorry, no, he was their offensive coordinator. Uh, he was their offensive coordinator before Brian Dable. And so I think they're going to hire one of those guys.
Do you
I think if they
think
take Davis, I think if they hire a guy like Davis Webb, who I think it'll be because Terry Pagula can be a Woody Johnson or a Jerry Jones and control
and
the
that's what he
situation.
wants to be? Um, the other thing I was going to say is, do you think they just promote Joe Brady?
I think that wouldn't be a bad option, but I think Joe Brady kind of wants out of there too. I
Mate,
think because
he interviewed
Joe Brady was in the locker room and
when
saw
that happened.
this
Yeah,
whole situation happen.
100%.
I don't think Joe Brady
I wouldn't
wants
want to be in that if that was what
because
happened. From like,
because Joe Brady is a good coach. I think he is going to get some job if it's not this coaching cycle, next coaching cycle,
he's
and
gonna
I
go
don't
be the
think him
Ravens
taking
OC.
that would be a good job because I don't think I don't think there's a good head coaching job left. The Cardinals, the Bills, the Browns, the Raiders. I don't think any of those jobs are good. The Browns could be, but you got to have a special guy to be the head coach of the Browns.
Have you heard what the Browns are doing for their interviews?
I've tried not to.
They're making all of their coaches take like personality tests and all kinds of weird data driven stuff and giving them a homework in between interviews. Like,
I'm
it's
good on that.
weird. It's weird. And because of that, almost every coach is pulled out, and there's only two that were kind of left in it, and one was Grant Udinsky, the DC of the OC of the Jaguars, and he just pulled his name out today.
Yeah, I think the Browns. I think all of these teams that are left. I think they're going to have a bad time. Like, I don't think any of them are going to hire a coach until after the Super Bowl,
Well,
probably.
Nate Scheelhaus has had two interviews with the Browns. Um,
Yeah,
but he's also now talking to the Bills, which again, go there. Don't go to the Browns.
I've heard he's had two interviews with the Browns. I've heard that Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator for the
Coordinator for the
Rams,
Rams.
has had two interviews for the Cardinals. And I think once you have two interviews, unless something goes absolutely wrong, like Mike McDaniels, who I think has had two interviews with a couple teams and pulled his name out every single time.
Well, the Browns, he did that, and Udinsky also had two and pulled out with the Browns.
I think McDaniel had two interviews with the Bills too, didn't he?
I don't know that he
And
interviewed with
maybe the
Bills.
Titans. I know he interviewed at the Bills. I don't know if he interviewed more than once. But yeah, I think these last four teams that need head coaches are going to have a rude awakening because I think this is going to be a bad time for all of them. And we might hear some head coaching job or some names getting head coaching jobs that we've never heard of, which that'll be fun. And maybe they find, you know, they catch lightning in a bottle and they get a guy that is actually good. But I don't know. We'll see. We've got a lot of good stuff coming for the NFL. Hopefully, the end of the season doesn't disappoint. Still got one game left. So hopefully we have a good Super Bowl. Hopefully something happens. If you are a fan of one of these four teams, hopefully you get someone that you can at least live with. But I don't know if we're going to. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to do an episode next week. We might, if something happens to where we feel the need to. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for all the other content that we're going to have coming in the next few weeks. Aaron and I are going to be doing another UFC episode this week because there is another numbered event next week. 2 weeks in a row for some reason, and then not one again till March. Gotta love the UFC. Also have a lot of baseball content coming out. Most of the stuff that has happened throughout the off season happened in the last week or two, but there's still some things that we can look forward to, especially us as Cardinal fans.
Hopefully,
Julian and Koty will still have a bunch of hockey content coming out. Randall and Marcus are going to have
Olympics
basketball
soon, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna probably try to get creative with some new sports that we haven't talked about a whole lot. So stick with us through that. Got a lot of good content coming out. So please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcast, follow it, download it, do all that good stuff. And please be sure to use code athletes for 10% off at W Energy. It'll help you out. It'll help us out. I didn't take it today, and so I have a migraine. So hopefully,
I had to do my hot chocolate first because I was out shoveling our foot of snow off my driveway, but I had the W right after.
I had 2 driveways that I had to shovel.
That sounds and they're awful.
And it felt like it was a mile's worth of
both ways uphill, a mile each way. Shut up, 25-year-old.
Almost 26.
Listen, I about threw my back out doing it. Can't wait to go to the chiropractor tomorrow.
Yeah. So yeah, just be sure to keep following us, and we're gonna have a lot of good content even throughout the off seasons. Sometimes the off seasons are the best time to be watching this content.
Oh, it's the craziest.
Yeah. So stick with us for that. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you.